name is Justin Schoif. This is for CATA 4A5. This is going to be our injury prevention program for football specifically. So, the way that we have our program set out is we're going to start off with dynamic flexibility, we're going to move on to agility, and then strength, and then we're going to finish with balance and plyo, all of it working the upper and the lower extremity. We're going to start off with neck rolls just to be able to get our athletes nice and loose, especially in football. There's going to be a lot of forward head movement and a lot of tackling moving in with the head first, so it's nice to get the neck freed up before we do any sort of movement. So all we're going to do here is we're going to stand nice and tall, rolling the shoulders back. We're just going to roll our head clockwise 5 times. And once that's done, you're going to do the same thing counterclockwise. That's going to be repeated 3 different times. Next, what we're going to do is going to be similar to this, but it's going to be a figure 4 hug. So in this case, what we're going to want to do is get foot up, trying to drag your foot up as high as you can, again stretching everything out in that glute, and then you're going to take a few steps, switch legs. Good, take a step forward. Good, excellent. The next one we're going to do is going to be alternating lateral lunges. So what we're going to be trying to target here is getting that dynamic flexibility now for our adductors. So what I'm going to get you to do, I'm going to get you to take a big step out, leaning into that one side, staying low, get over to the other side, back onto that one leg, take a step so that way you're alternating to the other side now, move over onto that opposite leg, take that step up and switch. So on this one, it's important is you want to make sure that your athlete is getting nice and low, but that they're also staying low the entire time, really emphasizing dynamic flexibility of your adductors. Good, Ziggy. Next one we're going to do is we're going to try to stretch out our hamstrings and our posterior chain again dynamically. We're going to be working with scoops. So you're going to take heel down to the ground. You're going to want to get underneath, pushing, driving the knee as far down as you can, scooping all the way up, keeping the toes pointed the entire time and that knee straight. Take a step forward, switch over, do the same thing. Very important as well as for any of our football athletes, because there is such an emphasis on tackling and moving inwards with the upper body first. It's always good to emphasize that regardless of what they're doing is always maintain proper chin positioning and chin posture, just to make sure that it creates good habits for them moving forward. Next one we're going to do is going to be a hip opener. So what I'm going to get you to do, stance leg on one, I'm going to get you to open up that hip on one side and then bring it back over, take a step forward, work on that other side, open up as much as you can, working on circumduction of both hips. So here, just getting the joint capsule nice and loose as well, making sure that nothing's overly tight in the hip area in the ball and socket joint. Finishing off our dynamic flexibility, we're going to finish with an A skip and then a B skip. So very important, because now we're starting to create that neuromuscular coordination between our upper and our lower limb. So what I want you to focus on is that as you're coming high knee on one side, your opposite arm is going to be coming up, and that hand that's on the same side, its lateral side, is going to be down in that pocket. And then when you take your step forward, it's the other two that will come up now. So hand right in front of the face, now that other hand, your lateral hand of the leg that's up, is going to be hand in the pocket. And then you just make that a little bit more dynamic where you're creating a run. Good, make sure you get that arm nice and high. We're going to move them into a B skip, where now as you come up, opposite arm, opposite leg, you're going to kick out and forcefully drag the heel into the ground, but you want to get it in a hop as well. So you can see it's a little bit harder on this one to do, but when performed properly, you're driving that heel forcefully into the ground, and you're getting that nice strength aspect of the end of your B skip as well. So that'll conclude our dynamic flexibility. Ideally what we're doing for this is, besides the neck rolls where it's a 3x5 set, everything is going to be done in terms of goal line. So you'll have all your athletes in line starting from the zero, from on the 0 yard line, and they're going to be moving, and all of this is going to be done in increments of 10 yards, followed by a 5-yard jog where they're going to get back into their lines. Second one for our agility is going to be a skater hop to a shuffle. So what we're doing with our athlete here is we're having them load on one leg, come to the center, quick hop in and out, and then back into a skater hop, working on that quick feet, moving into more of a strength stretch outwards. Good. Our third exercise for our agility is going to be a quick feet to a sprint. So we're going to keep our athletes on our goal line. We're going to have them head up, nice athletic stance, ready to go. We're going to get them to sprint in place, on the mark of go, they're going to sprint forward the full 15 yards until they hit that mark, and then they'll stop, and everyone will go back into line from there. So let's get going. Chin tucked, get those arms up. Go. Good. Well done. And the last one we're going to do for our agility is going to be a karaoke. So the only thing that we really want to emphasize here is that as, first of all, spinal rotation, but as you're coming back up with the hip, is you want to emphasize the circumduction, and you want to emphasize the hip coming and stepping over in that crossover. So go ahead, Sydney.
No.
Okay, try it again. Okay, come back the other way. There you go, it's a little bit better. And see, on that time she was getting a little bit more of her spinal rotation there as well as that hip coming over. So that was a lot better done. So that concludes our agility portion. Next we're going to move on to our strength. So we're going to start off with the walking lunges to a hip flexor activation. So what we're going to get our athlete to do is we're going to get them to take a walking lunge, move into that 90-90 position with their knees, and what we're going to get them to do is balance on the single leg as we try to just get them to get one foot up in the air, take that step, come down into the other leg, activate the hip flexor by just getting the foot a couple inches off the ground. Again, we're going to repeat this for a 10-yard period, 5-yard jog after that. Good. Good. So just a nice little exercise to get the hip flexors going a little bit. Our third one for our strength is going to be a lunge with the rotation. So we're also getting a little bit of that trunk in there as well now, similar to what we did with our karaoke. So they're going to come down into a lunge. Now the key here is that they're not letting themselves fall down. So again, that 90-90 position where we're keeping the knee hovering over the ground. And then we're going to get them to rotate to each side. So now it's also working on their dynamic ability to be able to stabilize, where they're going to have to work on their balance, dynamic balance. Sorry. Okay, so you're going to alternate on each side, rotate, take a step, rotate, again, that 10-yard, 5-yard jog. Lastly, for our strength, we're going to work on a bear crawl. So this is going to be especially important for anyone like our D-line and our O-line. So we're going to get into a nice low position here. The most important part about a bear crawl is you're looking at your positionings of your joint. So in this case, you want to have your wrist joint in line with your elbow joint, in line with your shoulder, your GH joint. And then for the lower extremity, you want to have your knee going right through your hip. Now again, what we're going to do here is we're creating that coordination between the upper and lower body. So what we want them to do is we're going to take opposite hand, opposite arm, and take that step forward. So we're going to go right hand, left arm, take that step, step, step. Most important thing here is that we want to make sure that they're able to maintain dynamic stability in the spine while they're moving with the extremities. So go ahead, Sid, get into your bear crawl position. And now take opposite arm, opposite leg, and step forward. Yeah, there you go. Good, staying low the entire time. We don't want to see too much of a sway in the hip here. Relatively speaking, everything should stay nice and flat. Okay, so again, 10-yard bear crawl, get up, 5-yard jog back into your line. Moving into our final aspect of our dynamic warm-up injury prevention for football, we're going to work on our balance and our plyometrics. So, starting off with lower body, we're going to do load up on the goal line, we're going to do a vertical jump, a long jump, sorry, and then we're going to get them to load up in that same position and go through a vertical jump. The entire time, the biggest emphasis is going to be on our landing mechanics. So we want to make sure that they're able to soft land on the long jump, and they're also able to soft land on the vertical jump, making sure that they're not staying stiff knee and getting all that force going through their knee joint. So go ahead, Sydney, jump towards me. Good, and up. There you go. So again, not only do we want to check the landing absorption, but we also want to check for any of that knee valgus going on, like Sydney demonstrated very slightly, is that especially on their jumping phase here, is they want to make sure that everything in terms of their joints is staying in alignment with each other and nothing is caving in or caving out. There's going to be a lunge to a single leg jump up. So again, working unilaterally right now, making sure that any receivers or DBs are going up to catch the ball and they land on that single leg, they're able to plant properly and that they're not getting any of that knock knee, avoiding any ligamentous injury. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get them again working with our arms, getting that coordination. We're going to take a lunge. Now from here, they're going to drive the back knee up and then they're going to get that opposite arm up, and then with the planted leg, you're going to push yourself up and out. So what that's going to look like is you come here, jump up, and up from there. So same thing as any plyo, you want to work on that landing, but you also want to check the knee for any valgus or varus. Last one we're going to do is we're going to get some plyometric work in for our upper body, again reiterating how important that is for a football player in a tackle sport. So what we're going to do in this position, we're going to load ourselves back up into that bear crawl positioning. Same cues as before in terms of the biomechanics of each of the joints. You want to make sure everything's in alignment. From this position here, you want to load yourself backwards. So you want to bring the bum towards the heels. From this position here, you're going to push yourself outwards to a plank position, where you're going to absorb with your upper body. So what that'll look like is you're here, push yourself up, absorb the push-up, walk yourself back, or walk the feet forward in this case, because they're going to be doing it for 10 yards forward, and again, that 5-yard jog just to finish off. Just try it. Load up, push, and catch.
No.
Okay. It's a good effort. It's not bad.
Can I try again?
You can try it again.
Wow. Okay. Like this?
Yeah. You just have to work on the absorption.
Yeah.
You don't want to absorb by the time that you're already straight, because then that's everything's going through your elbow. You want to push yourself and absorb with the elbows. Okay?
Okay.
But that'll conclude our dynamic warm-up. Takes about 10 to 15 minutes. You can do this with football. You line them up in lines of about 6, but you get them all lined up by position, and you're pretty much targeting every position in here from kicker to O-line to quarterback. However much movement or little movement you're going to be doing in a game, this will pretty much cover every aspect of that, going from your dynamic flexibility to your agility to your strength, and then finishing with your balance and plyometric work. Thank you.